If you like Star Wars and TikTok, you've probably seen some of the Imperial edits, with a comment section absolutely full of Empire glaze and Rebellion hate. Pictures of stormtroopers and rebel pilots drawn as soy jacks. But I'm here to tell you that the Empire were the bad guys, and they would have realistically lost to the rebels. And if not the rebels, they would have crumbled soon, after the rebels were destroyed. I'm going to explain why the Empire was evil, why they would realistically lose to the rebels, not just to plot armor, and why those edits and all of you are wrong. Now don't get me wrong, the Empire is cool, but they should not have won. If you ask your average Imperial Glazer why the Empire was the good guys, you'll probably hear something along the lines of, well, I watched a game theory video and the Empire is actually the good guys. Or something like, well, the Empire provides peace and security. Sure, you might have lower crime rates if you live on a planet where Darth Vader is breathing down your neck and the Death Star's on the horizon, but as soon as they're gone, you'll probably get mugged or just straight up killed. We see so many examples of this in the movies from the very start. On Tatooine, the planet famous for its amount of crime and smugglers. Some of the main characters you meet here, Han and Jabba the Hutt, are criminals who have either evaded the Empire or worked directly with the Empire as a mob boss. A government who really cares about peace and security would never allow a mafia to terrorize the people living within it. And while, yes, Tatooine is an outer rim planet too far away from the core of the galaxy to properly maintain, it is far from the only planet where crime is the norm. In the opening of Solo, we get a view into Corellia. It's a planet where the ultra-wealthy are able to live safe, cushy lives, while those under them are forced into hard, dangerous labor. Or, in Han's case, a thief and a scavenger for a crime syndicate. Corellia is a core planet. Not somewhere off from the rest of the civilization, but a core planet. Crime syndicates are the norm in Star Wars, whether under the Empire or not. But I think that this goes to show that the Empire really does not do much to provide safety outside of their totalitarian rulership under a select few planets. Well, what about the normal planets? The ones that aren't right under the Empire's iron fist, but also not on the Outer Rim. Well, on paper, they're allowed to have their own governments, their own elections, leadership, but almost all these planets' leaders are just Imperial puppets, only serving the interests of the Empire and not of their planet's people. The Empire follows the philosophy of not allowing any freedoms and labeling it as safety and order. The Empire indirectly shows us its true character and goals through the treatment of their clone soldiers and veterans. These brave soldiers, who were made by the Kaminoans, raised to fight, owned by the Republic, and holding a dying loyalty to the Republic, were abandoned. They were loyal to the same Republic that would later abandon them. The Republic that would stop proposals for bills to support the homeless clones, that would discriminate against them within their own military in favor of the new conscripted soldiers. An example of this, which we can see in the Bad Batch, is when Mayday is allowed to die, just because he's a clone. In the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, we also see how the average clone would live after the Clone Wars. We see a Foul First clone sitting on the side of the street, abandoned, homeless, and ignored. I think it's safe to assume, by how the public ignores him, that this is the norm. The clone veterans aren't seen as heroes, or even supported at all, they're just ignored. This is something that the people in Star Wars clearly do not want. There's no better place to see this hatred for the Empire's authoritarian rule than the formation of the Rebel Alliance. The roots of the Rebel Alliance can be tracked back to the Clone Wars on the planet Onderon. Here, we see Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, and Captain Rex training rebels on a planet under Separatist control. They teach them guerrilla tactics, how to strike targets much bigger than yourself, and in general how to fight someone who might outmatch you on paper. This is the nature of the rebellion. Small, coordinated strikes against a target that you could lose to on paper. But, with this strategy, they're allowed to survive and win. Fast forward to the formation of the Empire. While there had not yet been an officially formed Rebel Alliance, there were many pockets of resistance fighting against Imperial tyranny. By the year 2 BBY, the Rebel Alliance was officially formed with the goal of overthrowing the Empire and restoring the galaxy to a state of that before the Clone Wars. We know that there are not only people willing to fight and die just to stop the Empire, but even more behind the scenes who were willing to support that fight. The rebellion didn't just materialize their ships, weapons, and equipment. There are powerful, rich people willing to support the fight against the Empire. Throughout the movies, the rebels are characterized by their hit-and-run tactics and using small strike teams. From the attack on the first Death Star, where they didn't send their entire fleet, just fighters and bombers, to the team that stole the Death Star plans in Rogue One, who I know weren't officially sent by the rebels, but I think they still do a good job at characterizing how the rebels fought. To the small team that was sent out to destroy the shield generator for the second Death Star. On Hoth, we see them running away, and they're able to escape and spend a lot of time on the move. I know that many people see the Battle of Hoth as a victory for the Empire, but it was really a failure. It was a loss. The rebellion was able to escape and survive, which is exactly what the Empire was trying to stop. The Rebel Alliance works nothing like the Empire, who is very rigid in their command. They have set locations on capitals. They don't retreat. There are many cases in real-world history of a smaller force defeating a larger military. From the Revolutionary War of America to Vietnam to all the revolutions fought throughout history. A smaller military beating a bigger one is far from impossible. And even if it weren't for the Rebel Alliance, the Empire was always doomed to fall. From their habits of spending more on giant military projects, such as 2 Death Stars, rather than focusing on helping its people, to a command structure that topples once the head figure dies, leading to infighting amongst what's left of the leadership. After the Battle of Endor, where the Emperor himself dies, it's canon that many of the admirals and high-ranking people in the Empire fought each other for positions of power. Many of them broke off with their people under their command and made their own factions and became warlords who just fought. From its very formation, the Empire was already in the same state that many real-life empires were before their fall. From overspending on a military that likely forces them into debt, infighting within leadership, overexpansion, fighting a war, corruption, and the inability to change and adapt in circumstances, the Empire was at a disadvantage from the start. It's very easy to see a cool force or military in a movie and say, oh, they're actually the good guys, and then present anecdotal evidence just to be edgy and say the bad guys are good and the good guys are bad. It's very easy to label your military enemies as terrorists when they're smaller and less organized, which is something Imperial Glazers love to do online. But just because the rebels are smaller and less organized doesn't make them terrorists. The real terrorists are the people who blew up a planet because it was supposedly harboring people from an enemy force. That's not being the good guys. That's terrorism. Blowing up a space station designed to destroy planets, that's not terrorism. That's fighting a war. That's doing what you need to do. No matter how much these people cope, drawing the Empire as the Chad and the Rebellion as the Chud, saying the Empire is good, even despite all that, the Empire is evil, the Rebellion would have realistically won, and the only plot armor we see in Star Wars is the plot armor Ahsoka wears. And I just want to say thank you guys for sticking to the end of this video. This is my first video I'm going to post on this channel. I'm hoping eventually to grow my channel, get better at making these videos, and there's plenty of Star Wars stuff I want to talk about. I'd really like to talk about Lego Star Wars, Star Wars lore in general, my opinions on Star Wars media, and yeah, if you guys would just be able to support the channel in any way you could, I would appreciate it so much. Thank you guys for watching.